It's Faturati. In that film, we have stories of people who have refugees staying in their communities, and then they are forced to want to throw them out because they even need the land or the land for farming and then for building because their population is growing, so they have to build. The kind of legal framework we have, you being a real estate lawyer, what kind of legal framework do we have in terms of like providing for this?
You see, what needs to be clear is this. Housing generally in Nigeria, I think, or what is known today is that financing has always been a problem because if you look at our mortgage debt to GDP ratio, as it obtains in other countries like in America and all of that, the whole of Europe, you still have the mortgage debt to GDP ratio. That's the mortgage available to the citizenry to have access to those funds to build houses is 50% in Europe. You have about 77% in America. Then if you pick places, when you come down to Africa, even in Ghana, I think it's about 2%. Botswana is about 2%. In South Africa, you know, it's always different, 31%. Do you know what it is in Nigeria? The mortgage debt to GDP ratio is 0.5%. And the government is not producing anything because the access to finance is basically not there. So what you have is independent developers. People build on their own, take it from one step to the other. Now look at what the government did. You know, many people apply to the PMIs as a private mortgage institution, especially those in paid jobs. You start making contributions there. As at 2007, if you look at the estate just across, if you talk, let's use Parklight Estate as a microscopic representation of what we're saying now. In 2007, those houses were sold for 1.8 million, 1.5, 2 million for 3-bedroom flats. Then those same people were contributing between 2004 to 2007. They were also contributing to those PMIs, and they had access to buy those houses as at then. What was the salary structure when they bought then for 1.8 and 2 million? You know when the salary was last increased. Now we are in 2017. You want to apply to get the same thing. If you go down, straight down in Mowe towards Chagam, where you can get the cheapest houses around, a 2-bedroom flat will go for about 4.5 million naira. Then a 3-bedroom flat will go for about 7, 8 million naira, something that was sold there for about 1.82 million. So you begin to see the difference. But what about the earnings of the people? Has it gone up par with the inflation? No. So is it accessible? It's not accessible. So there is no way a civil servant who was able to do so in 2007 will be able to do the same thing in 2017. If you look at the salary structure before this new advent of increment in salary, looking at the news to review the salary structure. So it's just like when we talk about housing in Nigeria, we kind of deceive ourselves. It's not available. The average Nigerian staff cannot afford those houses. So when these houses are built, the people usually buy those money bags. They come when you put about 200 units on ground. They use different names. One will buy about 10, another comes to buy about 20. They now create this scarcity, and they start renting out to those who can't afford to build. Now, what we usually do is this: the independent builders are now pushed to the periphery of the state. Like those who work on the highland, they cannot afford houses. If you look at Lagos, they can't stay in Ebute-Metta, they can't stay at Lekki, so they push them towards the periphery of the state, towards Ikorodu, Mowe, and those areas, so where they can easily access land and start building on their own, because those mortgages are not available. But in South Africa, it's not the same thing. You can access those mortgages and continue to build. So the framework to actually address this is, we don't have a plan.
Can it be changed? I know the last administration, talked about mortgage refinancing, and then they were giving out a few people. I don't know how many of those people have been able to even access the refinancing award they got.
The refinancing in Nigeria, what is the percentage that you have on the refinancing? If they give you a mortgage and you want to, you know, all the banks, they tell you they could give you houses, even in mortgage institutions. Let's take it as a job. Go to these mortgage institutions. Some of them will tell you 32% per annum. Some will tell you 24. The cheapest you can get in this country is not less than 20. It's not less than 20. So government is not making the funds available, and these are businessmen. They need to hand back. There must be return on their investment. So when you buy a house, for example, we're trying to prepare a mortgage for somebody recently. The house was going to be about 40 million. It was going to be a counterpart for his own equity contribution was about 25 million. The balance 15 million will be financed from one of the mortgage institutions. When we calculated, they said they'll give him for 10 years. We calculated it. Per month, we'll be paying about 600 and something thousand. Work it for 10 years. You see that it's not what just any average staff can, or average worker in Nigeria can afford. By the time you have 600,000, how many people can pay 600,000 per month? And you'll be meant to pay that for 10 years. So no mortgage institution can actually give you anything that is less than 20%. Even if you go to the Federal Mortgage Bank where they tell you those bonds are available, can you access it? It's not accessible. It's not just there.
Let's look at the land ownership acquisition. You know, if you have to get a land anywhere in the country, you know, how easy is this?
You know,
or how difficult is it?
Thank God. I think the right word, you've just used the right word, it's difficult. And, you know, the challenges with land ownership, that alone stalls development. If you look at, let's still use Lagos, for example. To access land here, the government policies now says that for you to commence development in Lagos State, you must have your certificate of occupancy. Now they try to bring it down to a level whereby maybe by the time you make those payments and you show those proof of payment, they can actually give you building plan approval to commence spending when the certificate of occupancy is released. Because those certificates of occupancy, we have some of them that they just give query, this is that, and it has been there for like 3-4 years. You are still pursuing a certificate of occupancy. Some of them are out to 5 years. Even when they tell you it's a governor's consent, which normally should take about 3-4 months, you are running it for over a year because they've not even set modalities for them to run those things. They come to newspapers to tell you that this is available, that is available, they've done this much. But when you go there, it's a different ballgame. By the time you can't access your certificate of occupancy, how can you now build? So those policies do not favor us. There is no way you can commence any building. By the time you start putting up structure, number one, the Lagos State people are there, request for your documents. When you can't provide all that, then you start having problems. So those things alone stalls development. I have a client who hasn't been able to be because he's still waiting for the certificate of occupancy so that he can commence development. So you can imagine somebody has been stopped from building because of the certificate of occupancy that has not been made available. So when we look at the land tenure system in Nigeria, and if it is properly reviewed, you know, you're still talking about the 1978 Land Use Act and all of that. We're still dabbling around all of it because every government wants to be in control of the land and distribute as it pleases. But by the time we come out to see I think the major challenge is this. Nigerian government cannot actually see the benefit of housing development as it were in other climes. You see, in other places, housing development is one of the biggest business. Because by the time you develop, for example, the 100 billion naira the federal government wants to pump in per annum, do you know that can put up to about not less than 100,000 jobs within 2 years? Then imagine increasing it to 200 billion, and you're talking about job creation. Because a unit of house, to build a unit of house, you need about 15 different types of workers, direct workers and indirect workers to benefit from a unit. Work it out with putting up about 5,000-10,000 units and see the number of employment that will be generated. These are what other advanced countries used to generate employment. But we are not seeing it from that perspective. The builders, you talk about it being a dividend of democracy when it's supposed to be the core part of your governance. You understand me? So we've not really addressed the issue of the benefits that could accrue from building or the construction of houses. So by the time we look at those ones and see those benefits as it were in other places, then we will be able to put more funds in the housing industry. So the finance is not there, the policies are not favorable, and government cannot see it as a business. until they do it and see it as a business and for employment generation. The Federal Mortgage Bank, when I think Yakumo was the MD, I think still the MD, Federal Mortgage Bank, I think he was talking about if we can address the housing deficit and we can produce about 720,000 housing per annum. If the government can produce 720,000 housing per annum nationwide, then we'll be able to create 12 million employment per annum. It's there, the paper is there from Federal Mortgage Bank. It said we'll be able to produce 12 million jobs per annum. Then you can imagine if government should concentrate on building 720 units. It's possible. If they can do that, then you create 12 million jobs, and you know when you create those jobs, those people are the same people you come to generate revenues from. Until we see it as a business, there is no way we can move with 100 billion naira per annum.
Okay, if you have to tell, if the Minister of Housing and Works and Housing is watching right now, and you have to tell him anything, what will it be in terms of having this viable and sustainable housing system in Nigeria?
If I would tell the current minister, who was formerly the governor of Lagos State, if I'm addressing him, I think he knows better because he's been there. They developed the homeownership scheme in Lagos. Housing in Lagos is working fine compared to any other state. In Lagos is working fine. It's just that they are not affordable.
So if they are not affordable, then how is it working fine?
No, they are able to build, but it's not affordable. Usually it's not affordable because those who buy, what I'm telling you is that those who buy it, and they are the top guns that buy about 1, 2, 3 days. The way they say they try to know those, but it's not for the average worker. What the government needs to do is to go to the periphery of the state, go to Badagry, go to Ikorodu where the lands are cheap, and develop housing in there, then create the infrastructure, road, electricity, take it there. The people will be able to afford those houses. But by the time you concentrate to put your build houses in Ikeja, Ogba, it's not affordable. Then you begin to sell for 50 million naira to who? And usually you tell the person to come, the mortgage facilities are available, go there. At what percent? 20. So they've created bottlenecks that will make the houses unaffordable from the onset when they start creating them. So, but if the minister wants, what they need to do is to look at not just looking at housing, providing housing for people. You should look at it beyond that as is now something for the nation to generate employment, which is what we'll be crying about. They said they can create 750,000 jobs yearly. Housing development for them alone can create 300,000 of those jobs yearly. It's there. So if the minister will just adopt the same method they've been using in Lagos, implement it nationally, not creating and first of all, what I will tell you is that they should separate the housing from the power and steel. Let housing stand on its own, so that, because housing as a ministry is a big one already. So if they create on the focus on just having a housing and adopt the same method they've been using here, they can develop more houses than we have currently, because yearly what they do, if you go to Adamawa, they construct 200, they advertise the construction of 200, you go here, they advertise 500, and what the population requires is not that. What is 500 housing units by a governor in a year going to add up to a state where you have a deficit of about 500,000? So when are you going to reach 500,000? Calculate the housing deficit we have in Nigeria. We said 22 million. They said if we can build 720,000 units per annum, the 100 billion naira they have invested, I think they are looking at $100 billion naira per annum. Can that give us, how many units of housing can that give to us?
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. A real estate lawyer, Ola Faturoti.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.